Time for another coffee with Kilroy, or what I sometimes call, many times call, beverage in a book. My beverage, coffee, yes, halfway through the cup. And the book today is The Maps of Chickamauga, an atlas of the Chickamauga campaign, including the Tullahoma operations, June 22nd to September 23rd, 1863. By David A. Powell and cartography by David A. Fredericks. And this book is actually signed by Mr. Powell. Get to the front here. There is his signature, which I think I picked this up at a battlefield. I think I picked it up at my visit to the Chickamauga battlefield. I've been there a couple of times. Maybe even 3 times, but at least twice. One as a child and one as an adult. And I think I picked this up on the more recent visit, which was several years ago. But I could have picked this up at another battlefield adjacent to it, either Chattanooga or the one up the road a little bit, Murfreesboro. But I think I got it at Chickamauga. So, but this is Maps of Chickamauga, and I'm posting this on the 18th, so it's at the beginning of the battle. Actually, as you can see, the campaign started in June, but I think the battle proper was like the 18th, 19th, and 20th, were some of the heaviest of the fighting and the conflict. So let's move the coffee off to the side, wet my whistle, and we'll take a look. I'm not going to do a complete page through of this, but I thought I would. Well, let's look at the back first. I thought I would at least look at some of the maps that you get in here. Mainly, this is really, as by the name of the title, is very map centric. There are context and discussion about it, but it really is focusing on maps as you go through the entire campaign and the battle itself. Powell's authoritative and crisp text combined with Frederick's wonderful, man, it's hard to read with that, the way that is on there, maps clarify Chickamauga complex troop movements as never before. The stunning visual this is a stunning visual representation of Chickamauga and major contribution to the growing literature on larger battle in the Western theater. That's by William Glenn Robertson, a Civil War historian. And all this is the accolades for the book. Of course, they're always going to put the good stuff on the book cover. You don't want to put something on the book cover that I hated this. Why would you want to do that? So this is, so the Battle of September 19th to the 20th. There was combat on the 18th as well. The opening moves was on the 18th. So, I could post this on the 19th. So, well, you'll know when I'm posting it because you're seeing it. I'm filming it at much many moons ahead of time. So here's acknowledgement. Here's an overview. So there's a lot of, Powell is putting all the context and the history behind it, and then of course you've got Fredericks is doing the maps. But this is a really good resource on this battle and on this entire campaign. And I'll put this under. I've got a playlist for the battle itself, and then I also have a playlist for Atlas and Maps, and I've got a playlist for American Civil War. I've got a playlist for bookshelves. I got a playlist for Coffee with Kilroy. So you're going to find this. Throw a rock and you're going to hit it somewhere. All right. Here's the opposing developments, June 22nd. So this is the kind of the beginning of the campaign here, showing you the situation. And as I said, this is the graphics are very clear. The maps are all done in the same style, blue and red. Imagine that, with the same kind of, terrain effects chart, but the same, vegetation noted. So you kind of know what you're seeing a continuity through this whole book. Here's the man, I'm having a hard time. I need to drink coffee every time I make a mispronunciation. I need to drink coffee, and you should drink too. And if you're drinking heavier stuff than coffee, then good luck trying to get through the end of this video. The Tullahoma campaign, all right, getting the broader context here. And then we're getting up to September 18th. And then we are at, we're still getting up to September 18th. And then we have here these movements. A lot of buildup, but again, the history is all on the left side. So you basically have a left side of text and a right side of the maps pretty much throughout this whole book is the way that's set up. And here's where Braxton Bragg strikes back at Rosecrans on the 18th. And it goes into the detail of the different positions. It's very clear and crisp, so you can read the narrative and then see it play out on the right side of the page here. Very interesting. And as I said, I've been to the battlefield a few times. I think this is that highway that goes through the middle of the battlefield. Maybe not. I have to go back and look. If Mr. Powell is watching this, he will correct me and tell me where we're at and where I'm at and where I'm right and where I'm wrong. I think this is that highway that goes through the middle of the whole battle. I just remember, it being a relatively busy road, and then you're trying to pop off and see the sights and go back and forth to the different locations, because it's a relatively complex battlefield, because there's a lot of different movements, as you can see, throughout the several days. This is on the 19th. And I really don't have a definitive war game for this battle. I'm working on that. I've picked up some, there's blue and gray. It's covered in Rebel Fury. Those are kind of different perspectives on it, and blue and gray is kind of a introductory kind of level of it. There might be a Great Battles of the American Civil War on this. I do not have it. I don't believe I have it. If there is, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll take a look at that. Because this is a very interesting battle. As I said, it's one of the few battlefields I've been to more than once. I've only been to Gettysburg once. Been to Pea Ridge a couple of times because it's so close. But my dad was born and raised in outside of Atlanta, so whenever we go back and see family, sometimes they would listen to my begging and pleading and let me go to a battlefield, as the case may be. So now we're into the night of September 20th. As you can see, there's a lot. I'm not going to read this, but this is what the book is for: is to read this, and then you've got a visual context. I'm a very visual person, so this is a nice setup for me, having it kind of cross-reference over there. So this is interesting book. As you can see from the back cover here, eventually we get to the retreat. They retreat up to Chattanooga. Let's cut to the end, right? Because, might not live to the next day, so we want to cut to the end and see what happens. So here's the retreat to Chattanooga. And been to the battlefield site there as well. Anyway, as you can see here, there's been some other, there's the maps of Gettysburg and maps of First Bull Run. So I imagine I don't have them. I imagine they're in the same vein as this. And David Powell, I think, recently just came out with a book on Atlanta, the Atlanta campaign. I don't know if it's a maps situation like this or if it's just a straight, historical read on that campaign. But anyway, and that really just came out like within, well, by the time I'm posting this, by the time I'm filming this, within the last like 3 to 5 months. But by the time I'm posting it, it might be a year. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. The Maps of Chickamauga. I've looked at this a little bit, but again, I tend to get into these books when I have a game set up on my table that I'm wanting to dive into, and I'm wanting to get some context. I'm wanting to understand a little bit closer what happened and what were some of the decisions that were made. So I usually pick up a book like this to go hand in hand with me pushing, cardboard on a hex map and rolling some dice. But I don't, as I said, I've got a few introductory games. I might use this with those games and see how that plays out. I just haven't got the Chickamauga battle to the table, but I have the book. Now I need the battle. Thanks for stopping by. Let me know what you think about this or any other of Mr. Powell's works. Appreciate your comments down below. Thanks all. Thanks for watching.